All right, folks, it's time for another edition of NASCAR Fantasy Fastlane. I'm the host, Steve Letarte, and on the couch of conversation, that sounds pretty good, maybe discontent, maybe disagreement, I have stat guy, Twitterless Russell, and Jessica, high scorer, high point. See, I'm going to give credit where credit's due, the high point awarder for the, you get the high point award for the week. So Martinsville, we can't move on to Texas yet until we talk Martinsville. We talked about high points. I'll give you the floor. How did you do it? How did you end up? And how many points did you score? A bunch.
So I scored 230 points. I mean, I had help from bonus picks because I picked the manufacturer winner, Ford, and then I also picked Joey Logano to win the pole. But I just had a good day as a whole with my lineup. I had Denny Hamlin, Clint Boyer, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Aric Almirola. Stuck Joey Logano in the garage when I saw he wasn't making a bad run, but not a great run.
Wait. You gotta know what happens. Sorry to interrupt.
Happened?
Here's what happened. So I was at home for the race.
Yeah.
And I love racing, but it's the NCAA weekend. So I'm basketball racing. And a friend of mine, this one, texts me, hey, what do you think, 19 versus 22? What did I tell you?
22.
No, what was the first text I told you? I haven't seen that much. I've been going back and forth, so I don't know. And he goes, well, you're a lot of help. So I said, well, then I would go with the 22, save the starts on the 19. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, not so good. But I still beat you this week.
You did beat me.
Where were you
So
at?
not to interrupt. So what did do you have everyone's scores? I was like
I don't
at
have everyone's
219.
scores.
You were what?
I was 230.
Okay, I was
think you have
219.
Do you have everyone's
I
scores?
did good.
You were 217. I was 219.
I did a decent job
Over
with my
200.
lineup. Yeah. Missed all the bonus picks.
All of them?
Except for the pole. I did get the pole for Joey Logano, but I missed all of the other bonus picks. That hurts. I mean, that's 20 points right there. That could be the difference. But I like the lineup I used. Much like yourself, I had Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Clint Boyer, Erik Jones, and Kevin Harvick. Kevin, I'm a little sour on that usage because I think he's going to run good in the middle of the summer. So that was probably the one that I'm disappointed the most in my points total. I had Truex in the garage. You know, it's easy to say I should have put him in for Harvick, but you're talking a handful of points. I think it's fine. I'm glad I saved the usage, but what can you do? Go ahead. 2 points more than me. But you burned some starts. Who'd you use?
Well, I used Keselowski, which was a great start.
There's never burning a start when you pick the race winner.
And won both stages, too. So you can't. So I Clint Boyer. That was a good usage there. Almirola, decent usage. And Joey Logano killed me on that.
Complete burn on Joey
And then
Logano.
Hamlin was another good usage.
Yeah.
And then I saved the usage on Truex. Like
Although did Boyer and Hamlin not play with our emotions over the last 150 laps? Like, what can we not run pit road speed? Can we not control tires? Y'all are killing me.
Oh, my gosh, I know. 2 pit road speeding penalties for Boyer.
This one
right?
here, he started texting me. He was like, Boyer, expletive, speeding. And I loved it. It was great. It was excellent.
And then the uncontrolled tire. I love that rule.
No, he does. That's Russell's favorite rule. He gets so mad when it gets called. See, here's why. Because on the NBC half, he's up there in the booth with me, and when it happens, I'm like, look, it's clear as day, and I'll get on the telestrator, start drawing. Look, it's more than one arms, and he's like, that's the silliest rule. He hates the rule, so we call it the Russell rule. We call it the Russell rule.
The Russell rule.
He doesn't like it, but you have to have it. You can't have tires. That's for a whole other show. We're not going to dig into that. So Martinsville, look, Brad had a dominating performance, led the most laps. Definitely down on lead changes. Go ahead.
But the most amazing thing to you, what do you think the largest lead was yesterday?
That's what I was getting ready to say. What was the largest lead? 2.5 seconds?
2.5 seconds.
Yeah. So
the average was 0.6 of a second. So like when you look at it that way,
laps, I'm like one lap car, and Chase gets him, and no one talked about the pass for the win was on pit road. Like it didn't even happen on the racetrack because it was like, oh, Brad was the best car. BS.
No,
Chase Elliott
was.
passed him.
Yeah.
And controlled the race. And I am of the opinion if Chase Elliott controls the final read. Now, Chase is a professional. They interviewed him after the race. He alluded to what a lead would have been. It would have been a little bit better. But at no point did he look at his pit crew. He's an A-plus driver. He's never going to do that because he knows he's made mistakes. But as an analyst, I have nothing to do but stare at it. And if he has control of that race lead, I don't think Brad gets him.
Well, and Brad talked about post-race several times that he thought Chase Elliott was the better car. He said that several times in his post-race interviews, so he even knew it too.
But why is Chase Elliott the fan favorite? One simple quote. Did you see after the race? I drove down into turn 3. Maybe I could have went higher earlier and it made a little bit of run, and I tried to get to his bumper because ... I would have had no problem moving him.
Yep.
Right there.
He
The
did.
fans love him, and I love a guy that says it. So that was Martinsville. Martinsville's in the rearview mirror. You come on here, you listen here to try to get some heads up on how to play your fantasy picks. Man, I can't remember what the odds were for Vegas odds for Chase, but I want to say they were
like 20.
Yeah, they were high because I was thinking somebody had a pretty good chance. I know Brad was kind of a favorite, so not a big deal. But Martinsville in the rearview mirror. Now we head to Texas, the Lone Star State, a track that you have to be very careful at looking at numbers. I say that to Russell right now because the reconfiguration of turns 1 and 2, that track might as well have moved locations. It's a completely different facility. I don't look at anything past the last four races, right? The last four races is all it's been. So I think we need to start with how can you not start with Team Penske? Because not only have they had a great year, they had a great Martinsville. And let's start with the two-time winner now in the number 2 car of Brad Keselowski. I mean, this is where I get to struggle, right? We're now, 7 weeks in? This will be the 7th race, am I right? 7 weeks in. And it's like I feel like we're just saying the same thing time and time and time again. I'm trying to give the listeners something new about these guys. So, Brad – So here, I'm going to go through some names, but these aren't just little names. Like, to use these guys, you have to expect a big day. So we're going to start with Brad. Brad and Logano. Let's start with the 2 Penske guys that have won races. Where do you stand on those 2?
Well, they won the last 3 mile-and-a-half races, both of them this year. I don't think you can not start them if you don't have usage issues.
So I think I'm the same way. I'm having them both in. When you look at Brad, he's 2 top 10s in the last 4 Texas, but I think the rules have changed. They definitely have something figured out with these rules. This year he's 1 for 2 at the mile-and-a-half tracks, and by the way, 2nd in the other one, so pretty good. When I look at Joey Logano, he's won 2 of the last 3 mile-and-a-half tracks, so he knows what he's doing. So I think this comes down to a strategy, right? Because I think Ryan Blaney is maybe a little bit more of a sleeper, maybe not quite as dominant. So I am going to have only 2 Penske cars, including my garage. So if there's an issue, I can get one out for a usage issue because nothing tells me speed-wise that I wouldn't want Brad or Joey in my lineup.
Right. Now, and I like when you look at Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, and Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, just as a whole, the Team Penske group has got this rules package figured out. So going back to this mile-and-a-half track, you've got that. I believe it's the lower horsepower, higher downforce.
Yep.
Back at Texas this weekend. So I like those guys heading in, especially Logano and Keselowski. But like you said, usage-wise, it's probably only smart to play one of them.
So it's interesting. This is where – so I think this package was built really good for the original Texas. High speed, both ends of the racetrack. I am not sure what it's going to look like on this because I actually preferred the racing last year at Texas. I like that you had a compromise, different ends of the racetrack. You kind of set up a guy in 1 and 2, complete the pass heading into turn 3. I'm not sure what percentage of wide open throttle. Surely they're not going to go 1 and 2 wide open. I mean, that thing is flat. And, I don't know. This is the problem. So as a crew chief, I had data. As an analyst, I don't know. I'm much like the fans. I'm going to have to wait till practice comes on. So I'm going to wait and see. But so Team Penske is on the hot streak. Rank them. Team Penske drivers is number 3, Blaney, pretty easy?
No. Not at Texas.
All right. Oh, let's come on. You have the floor.
So I prefer Blaney probably first out of those guys at Texas.
You heard it. I wish I had the breaking.
Wow.
We need some sound effects. I need that breaking news. We interrupt this telecast to tell you. So Blaney number 1.
Well, so he's on the pole there last November, last time we were there. Finished 5th and 2nd there last year.
All right.
He won both stages 2 years ago, the first race on the reconfigure.
Okay, but how about this year with this configuration?
But he was fast, but didn't have the results.
That 3-letter word you keep saying, but, that's a big but. That's a problem.
But he ran well.
I got him silent. You hear that?
He ran well at Atlanta, and then he had issues at Las Vegas.
What was this issues at Las Vegas? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. He was like 20-something,
Bad
I
when
think.
you
Yeah,
don't
he
remember.
he was really bad.
All right. Well, maybe they were trying something else. So you have Blaney first. Okay, so I don't.
I would pick Blaney first at Texas.
So I'm the opposite. I'm taking Joey Logano as my number 1 driver over Brad. I think it's Joey, Brad, Blaney. That's my order for the Team Penske guys.
I'm kind of a coin flip, honestly. I think with them,
Playing both, you can't go wrong.
I don't want to play both of them for sure.
All right.
No. I don't want to use both of them this weekend. But I think a lot we'll be able to tell just from looking at practice, qualifying, things like that, see who has better speed between probably Logano and Keselowski, but Blaney could be a sleeper too.
But Keselowski totally fooled us this weekend.
He did.
Like, he was not. This is his.
So wait. Timeout.
Mm-hmm.
TV timeout. How many times have you been to Martinsville? A lot. Practice there is useless. The track has no rubber. Like, look, fooled you.
Fooled me.
Well, we'll get back to the fall, and like, you cannot just look at. It's very complicated. The crew chiefs would tell you it's very hard to practice at Martinsville because the track changes so much. My point is, I'm not saying Brad and Paul knew they were going to be that good. I'm not saying, I'm not saying people know. Just in general, it's a hard place to predict because of, man, I had races I've won there where I was going to throw up the night before, and then other races where I'm like, oh, yeah, we're good. You're going to like lap 200 be like, we're not good. Abandon ship. You can't get the setup out of it. So.
I think Brad and Paul were a little surprised just how good they were, because you talked to Paul Wolfe after the race, and he was talking about how when they unloaded, they weren't as fast as they thought they would be. And so it was kind of maybe a little bit of a surprise how well they were able to control that race for them.
Well, so I think Team Penske is an obvious must-pick when it comes to Texas Motor Speedway. We have a little disagreement on which one, Logano, Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, all three good choices, but you cannot go to a mile and a half and not talk about Joe Gibbs Racing. So we have Team Penske versus Joe Gibbs Racing. That's 2019 in a nutshell. We'll start with, it's got to be the hottest guy in the series, even after Brad's win. Let's talk about Kyle Busch. If you're going to use him, you better win. That's what I'll say about Kyle Busch.
Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't play him last week.
It's a good move. That's an A-plus move. Save that start.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he won this race last year. It was the start of his 3 in a row last year.
Yep.
So
can I tell you where I'm at? Here's where I'm at. I'm going to just show you the fear I have. I want to say to play Brad, Kyle, Logano, Truex, but if there's a couple that have a bad run, what am I going to do? I'm risking it all. I am going bullish this week. Kyle Busch, I mean, listen, we could talk about stats, but these people haven't tuned in. They know Kyle Busch's stats. It's outrageous, right? So Kyle Busch, so Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, great. Does anybody think Kyle Busch is not going to run well?
No.
So let's not waste the listeners' time unless you have some riveting information.
Well, he hasn't run well there other than that win on the reconfigure.
Yeah, but
so I don't know if that matters
in
this. So
yeah, okay. So you're saying maybe a little wait and see.
Yeah.
This is where we go. Russell loves Martin Truex Jr. Where do you stand on Martin Truex Jr.? Am I wrong?
I'm all in on Truex.
See, I told you he was. That's why when he texted me, I'm like, oh, you better save a start.
I like Martin Truex Jr. He's never won at Texas. He had a crash last spring, but he's finished 7 of the last 8 races in the top 10 there, led over 100 laps in the last 2 events. I think he's going to be strong at the mile and a half. We've seen Truex be strong at the mile and a half in the past. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe Texas is where they can put some of that together.
So here's where I'm at on Truex. Forget the numbers. This transition to Joe Gibbs Racing has not been smooth. It's not been bad, but it's not been good by Martin Truex Jr. numbers. And I'm not sure it's the Joe Gibbs transition, but I don't know what else to put my finger on other than he's driving for a different company. He might have the same crew chief, but he doesn't have his engineer. He's at a different location. I think they're going to get it figured out, and I think he's going to come back to Martin Truex Jr. status and be one of the Kyle Busch's, Joey Logano's, Brad Keselowski's. So I'm saving him because I think midsummer, Martin Truex Jr. is a win type of guy. I want him in top 1, 2. So everyone loves Martin Truex Jr. on the couch. Okay. Jessica, can he beat Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski? You're going to tell me that Martin Truex Jr. is better than those 3 right now in the year. So now you're putting him 4th. I'm not burning a use for 4th because there's going to be a time. How about this? You have to have an all-star in your lineup, and if I'm playing the 2 Penske drivers and Kyle Busch, I don't have Truex in there.
What about in your garage?
Now, I didn't say I was going to put him on the bench. I mean, he might be in my garage out there. I don't think so. No.
So he's had top 10 finishes in the last 5 races.
He's got to break through,
but he is a superstar. Top 10 finishes is not good enough.
He
You're the person that sees it like a whole thing of red on the roulette wheel, and you just keep betting, right? It's got to go black at some point. It's not how it works.
If he had had a few more laps at Atlanta, he probably would have caught Brad Keselowski.
I know, and if I had a few more wins, I wouldn't be on this couch next to you, but I am.
But I'm just telling
There's no more ifs in racing. You got to win races.
I'm telling you, I think he's going to break through sooner rather than later. So I think that, like Russell said, the trend of him getting those top 10s is the start, of him breaking through for that win. Texas could be the spot where he does it.
Could, ifs, a lot of non-conforming words.
Russell agrees with me.
So that should concern you. All right, well, let's continue. Let's just knock out all of Joe Gibbs Racing. How about Erik Jones?
I like Erik Jones a lot.
See, so here's my point. I like what you're saying there. I like Erik Jones as well. So you can't like everybody. You can only play 5 guys, right? So to your point, I'm thinking Erik Jones in front of Truex. Put Truex either in my garage or even completely on the bench. Erik Jones, I'm a big believer in Erik Jones, especially big bounce back after not a very smooth Martinsville.
If it was 4th in both races there last year, what do you expect from an Erik Jones usage?
Perfect. Martin Truex Jr., I expect top 3 if I'm going to burn that name. That's why he's not in. If I can get Erik Jones 3rd to 8th, top 10 in total points with stages, that's a win for me with Erik Jones. That's how I'm looking at it. That's my strategy. Remember, 5 guys, 26 weeks. That's 130 picks you're going to have to make. You're limited to 10 each. You're going to need to use at least 13 drivers. Erik Jones is going to have to show up, so I like Erik Jones as well.
He's been strong in the Xfinity Series there, too. I think he got his first win there, 2015. Won 3 times.
3 wins there.
Yeah, so he's been strong there.
Well, that just leaves a Martinsville, I'm not going to say a winner, but a Martinsville high performer. We all had him in our lineup, Denny Hamlin in the 11. As much as I was on Denny Hamlin at Martinsville, that's how much I'm off him at Texas.
I completely agree.
I mean, I like my man, DH.
Yeah, there's not good there.
There's just no art. So, all right, so there you have it. Looking at Joe Gibbs Racing at Texas, we're all strong on Kyle Busch. The couch is split on Martin Truex Jr. Seems like Erik Jones has a lot of potential, but Denny Hamlin, even though he had a great run at Martinsville, I'm not sure anyone here on the couch is on board at the 1.5 mile Texas. We're going to see how he runs after that. So there you go. There's the 2 big teams, Penske and Gibbs. Let's talk about other big names.
There's one you're glaringly missing.
Well, go ahead. You host.
No, go ahead.
No. You've jumped in now.
So why wasn't Kevin Harvick your first guy that we talked about today? He's won 2 of the 4 races on this reconfigure.
Can I answer the question? I mean, he asked me a question, then interrupted me, though. Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because Team Penske and Gibbs have won every race this year.
Okay.
And where's he drive? Neither of those, right? Just checking. Just checking. That's why. You are right, though. I think Kevin Harvick, like I told you, I was disappointed in my use at Martinsville. I'm not going to be disappointed with my use at Texas. Kevin Harvick is in. Although I have a little concern. How do you run in Atlanta? Not Kevin Harvick-esque.
No, he was top.
He was 4th.
Yeah, he was top 10.
All right, so let's go. Let's jump right into Stewart-Haas Racing. Kevin Harvick.
He's a must start.
Must start.
His worst finish on this reconfigure is 4th. He's won 4 of the stages there. Think about that.
Stage points valuable.
I like that. Do you have any disagreement on Kevin Harvick?
No, I'm definitely playing Kevin Harvick. Winning 2 of the last.
I'm trying to figure out how many drivers y'all have in your lineup because you're playing everybody.
No, I told you I'm not playing all the Penske guys.
Yeah. No, you're going RJ on us.
I'm going.
You going to change Sunday morning?
No, RJ's all or nothing.
RJ's not here because he's on his Bryce Harper love tour. That's what I'm calling it now. If you follow him on Twitter, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Hashtag.
Yeah, he literally, I think, is in love with Bryce Harper, which, just to be clear, a sports fan, you should love the stars on your team. So I'm fine with it. I have no problem. But that's now what I call it when you go, I'm not playing Penske and then put them all in on Sunday morning. That's called going RJ because that's what he did.
No, I said I was playing one of them, though.
Okay, all right.
He's like the 3 Musketeers or none of them.
You're right. It's like he thinks the checkbox is all 3. He doesn't know you can split them up.
Play all 3 of them.
Like peanut butter doesn't always have to go with jelly. You can split them up for different uses.
You could do peanut butter and honey.
I'm telling you.
You don't have to do jelly.
He's really spun out. All right, so I like Kevin Harvick as well. We're kind of working through my team. How about this one, though? This guy's numbers said he should start, both career and 2019. Give me a reason to not play Kurt Busch. Silence? So you like him?
I can't. I like him.
The reason I say that is he's been top 10 in every race since the reconfiguration. Now, granted, Stewart-Haas equipment, pretty good equipment, but there's a lot of ways to lose a race. There's a lot of ways not to run inside the top 10. He also, very important here, has won the pole for 2 of the last 3 races. Ding, 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 ding. Bonus picks. Kurt Busch. He is the leading candidate for Chevrolet, really up until Chase Elliott's run last week at Martinsville. Kurt Busch was flying the banner for Chevrolet. He has won at Texas way back 10 years ago, but still knows where victory lane is. He can refine it. Good in 2019. I mean, I'm trying to find the negative, and I don't have one.
Like you said earlier, like what's he done this year? He was 3rd and 5th on the mile and a half this year.
And you ask, hey, what's good points for Erik Jones? Listen, Kurt Busch is kind of in that Erik Jones category, right? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm discounting. He is a champion, but I'm not expecting victory lane performances, right? If at the end of the day they say, how many points did Kurt Busch score, and he's in the top 8 or 10, that's a solid day, right?
I would agree
Absolutely.
with that.
All right, so we like Kurt Busch as well. So we're bouncing on a little bit. I guess the only other person I have in my big names, my potential must-starts, is Chase Elliott. Can we believe it? Can we believe the momentum has shifted and he can turn a second-place run at Martinsville into momentum at Texas? I don't believe it. I'm avoiding the 9 of Chase Elliott completely.
I'm playing him.
Oh, this is good. This is how I'm going to get an advantage. All right, tell me. Sell it, because I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't.
Okay. He's finished all 6 of his Texas races in the top 11. I think what we saw with him at Martinsville, they've got a little bit of momentum on their side coming off that win. This runner-up, he was really the only car that had anything for Brad Keselowski, and like we said before, was probably better than Brad Keselowski. And I know they're completely different tracks, so I know that has nothing to do with it. But I think momentum is a real thing, and I think with his Texas runs in the past that he's a good play this weekend.
You kind of have this glassy-eyed look like you didn't believe the things she just said.
Everything she said was true, but I'm not. I'm out on it.
No?
So this is where my gut overrides the numbers. What Russell said is you have a great argument there, but the simple fact is when I look on a more global scale, panic, if it isn't setting in, should start to be creeping in at Team Hendrick. They took a 7-time champion and ran multiple laps down at a track that he has dominated.
With no issues.
With no issues. Well, there's an issue.
Yeah.
It took them way longer to run a lap than how that should be. He loves when I make stupid statements like that. But
Stupid, but
William
true.
Byron, look, I'm going to give him a free pass at Martinsville. What did Chad say? Hey, look, it's been a bad weekend. Let's just run all the laps. But that's still – okay, so there's a global Hendrick Motorsports. And as – I don't doubt their effort. I don't doubt their desire to return. I don't doubt that Rick Hendrick is there daily asking what he – like, I don't question that they perhaps will get back to where they've been. But the effort it takes to do that is enormous. And my point is, you know, when that effort goes on, you kind of all split up and try to figure something out, right? Like Chad Canals was worrying about William Byron. Jimmy Johnson was worrying about, Kevin Menner is worrying about Jimmy Johnson, right? They have to figure some stuff out. Alex Bowman, I actually think, is running okay, needs to run better. But I think all of that is going to make it hard for Chase Elliott to be consistent. So that's why I'm avoiding him. I just don't see it. I'm not gonna believe one good run at a half-mile flat track is gonna, because their mile-and-a-half numbers just have not been there this year. So I don't see it turning around. So I'm avoiding, even though the numbers say start him. I'm avoiding.
All right.
So we'll see.
We'll see how he runs this weekend.
We'll see. We'll see. The little disagreement. Everybody likes a little disagreement. Well, those are probably the starters and some of the big names when it comes to Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to come back in a little bit and tell you about how we're going to fill out the rest of our lineups. But before we get into that, we cannot avoid the props challenge. Each and every week, 10 picks, 1 point if you're right, 1 point if you're wrong. You don't even have to play all 10. And drum roll, this week, somehow Russell squeaked through with the highest props. All right, so let's talk about props. I scored 3 points. I feel like that's disappointing. But that's 6 right, 3 wrong. I only played 9.
1, so I'm not.
Which one did you not play?
I did not play which team will have a highest finishing driver, Joe Gibbs or Team Penske.
I also did not play that one.
I got that one wrong. So
see, that's why I didn't play it. So the ones I got wrong were the over-under on Fords in the top 10. Brad Keselowski has an average finish. Obviously, I got that wrong. I thought it was going to go away. It went anything but away. So not only did I get it wrong, but I felt like he ran into my living room and gave me like a na-na-na-na-na. Like it was not good. And the lead changes I completely missed.
Oh, that was, yeah.
I got a bunch of the other ones right. So in the end, I was at 3 points. Not really what I'm looking for. Not really what I'm looking for. Where'd you end up, Russell?
I had 4 points. And I got the same ones wrong as you.
I'm telling you, it's tough. Let me go back and check and see how many I can look at the leaderboard. Let's check and see how many 10s we had. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, you got quite a few.
Oh, boy. I mean, I'm still scrolling. There had to be, 20, 30 10s on there?
Yeah. We got to invite these people on the show.
I was going to say Joe Cat. Maybe he needs
Joe
to come
Cat.
in. Celtic Racer. We got a few people in here that – but the point of the game, though, is each week it resets. You get to have a little heads-up bet. So I guess you're getting free coffee.
Yeah, well, I'm banking on my free coffee.
You're banking. Like, are you going to turn your coffee into a few cocktails? Because you're banking a lot of coffees.
Yeah.
He's going to put some Clue in there.
I'm telling you, he's going to have a spiked coffee. So let's look ahead to Texas. We have a handful of props here. Let's just jump right out and get everybody's opinion. Does Ryan Blaney extend his 2019 top 5 streaks to 4? So basically the bet is, does he run in the top 5 at Texas or not? I am a bullish no. He's Mr. number 1 driver at Team Penske, so if he doesn't say yes, then he's lying. Okay. How about in the middle?
I think Ryan Blaney can run in the top 5, but I don't know if I want to bet that he will run in the top 5.
So I'll do it real quick. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick. Those 4 are going to outrun him for sure. So now that leaves – you heard it, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. So now that leaves 1 spot open. I think it's too hard to fill that 1 spot. So I'm a no on Ryan Blaney. Kurt Busch has 4 straight top 10s, but no finish better than 7th in that stretch. Does he finish inside the top 7? So it's really the same pick, right? Does Ryan Blaney run in the top 5? We have a split couch, a yes and a couple no's. Mm-hmm. Does Kurt Busch run inside the top 7?
If it was top 10, I think I would take it. But
that 7 makes it for a better.
Yes.
That's a great line.
Yes.
That's a great line. We're going to tell RJ, I think he helped create some of these lines. That's a great, because 10 is a yes.
Yeah.
Top 7, I still want to say no.
I would say 7th is where I would have him. So it's a tough one.
So it's a tough. You could hear like he gulped in the middle of that.
I know.
All right. How about the over/under 2.5 Toyotas in the top 10 at Texas? I think that's a pretty easy.
That's a
over.
Well, Gibbs has had 3 in the top 10 every race this year.
Right. So really, let's talk through this so the fans. When I say easy, there's really 5 Toyotas. Mm-hmm. Right. Unless I'm missing one. Right. There's 4 Joe Gibbs cars and Matt DiBenedetto. And Matty D's had a great year, but I don't think he's had a top 10 type year. I really think this line. I mean, I say yes.
We talked about Erik Jones too.
No, I don't know. You think they're gonna have 3?
Why not?
Kyle,
Martin
yes.
Truex Jr.
Truex is a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
Erik Jones.
No. Let's talk about what this bet really is. Kyle Busch and Truex are in the top 10. Mm-hmm. Matty D, we're going to say, is out. Mm-hmm. So the bet is, does Denny Hamlin or Erik Jones run inside the top 10? I have to stick with Erik Jones. Yes, I'm at 3. Okay. It's an over.
So you talked yourself into it.
I just like to talk through it.
He argued with himself.
All right. Does the same driver win stage 1 and stage 2? Nope. It's coming to an end. I know it's happened the last 2 weeks. It ends at Texas. And it ends at Texas not because a guy won't dominate or any of that, but because I expect some yellows in that second stage. When you pit's going to cycle the field. It's a no for me.
I would say no, too.
No.
Oh, that'll definitely happen. We'll all be wrong. That's how this works.
Like our lead changes last week.
I'm telling you, we were only like 9 off. So
we all took over.
Over, under 1.5 drivers leading more than 85 laps. Oh, I hate these lap-led type things. 300 and how long is the race? 327?
What is that one?
334.
334. So basically, here's the real. I'm going to simplify the bet. The line is 1.5. Mm-hmm. How many drivers will lead 85 laps or more of a 334-lap race? The under is 1 or 0. The over is at least 2 guys. Here's what makes it a little difficult. What's the stages? I'm asking because I don't know. 334, so it's probably like 100, 100, and 134 or something like that.
Probably something like that.
So, the problem I have is if there is, say, a lot of green flag racing.
It's 85.
Gosh darn, 85 right on the number? Mm-hmm. Well, because that's my point. If somebody leads the whole stage, I'm going under. I don't think guys will do it.
Can you make it? You have to pit there.
Yeah, that's my point. So you're going to have a pit cycle, so I say under.
I say under 2.
Middle of the couch is not sure.
I'm
She's
not
leaning
sure,
over.
honestly.
All right, we're going to have to wait and see.
I'm undecided on that one.
I'm going to have to do a little research on that. Gosh darn, I want to say under. Here's what happens, though.
Because I think one guy's going to lead a bunch.
334. You're telling me a guy's going to lead 250 laps?
I can't see that happening.
I mean,
not this week.
You might talk me out of it.
Would anyone ever lead? I'm going over. I'm switching right here.
You're switching?
Over. Over. 2 guys, actually maybe even 3 guys lead 85 laps.
I'm going to have to research that one,
It's a cycler. Listen, the pole sitter's going to lead the first at least 40. If he has a good car, he's going to lead 60, 70.
Well, and it could
Over.
It
2
could
guys.
depend too who wins the pole this week.
I mean, man, don't bring that sort of great knowledge in here. All right, we're going to recycle back. Which driver finishes better? This one is I don't think that difficult. Ty Dillon and Matt DiBenedetto.
Well, it's not difficult if you just look at the numbers. If that's
I don't even know the numbers, and it's not difficult for me. And the numbers are probably going to disagree with me, but
the numbers disagree with you.
That's because Matty D has been driving a rental car.
People can't read minds. What are you thinking?
Because I'm waiting to see. So the numbers would stay Ty Dillon. The numbers are wrong. Matty D has never been in equipment like he has right now.
It's
Matty
all green
D
for Ty Dillon.
by 5 spots. By a chunk.
5.
You want to spot me 5 and buy me coffee?
Nope.
See, he can't even.
How is Matt finish this year?
You can't look at that.
You can't?
Well, I can, but I don't think you can when you look at he's been driving.
I'm not sure what that response was to you right there. like you can't because it's secret? Or
I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can pull it up right now.
Like,
if I had a computer.
So he finished 16th in this race last year, DiBenedetto.
How did he finish at Las Vegas this year?
He was 21st at Las Vegas.
Okay.
Oh, boy. So I was going to be quite honest, see if I could get some NASCAR odds from the Westgate because I didn't get them ahead of time.
So in the last 10 races, Ty Dillon's finished better than him 8 times.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like it. I still don't like it. I still don't. All right, that's it. We're not going to keep arguing about these props. We don't agree. That's how it goes. But just remember, props game every week, 10 picks. It doesn't carry over. It's a lot of fun. The most fun, have a little wager. We have a cup of coffee wager here on the couch. 10 picks, a point if you're right. You don't have to play all 10 because you do lose a point if you're wrong. We went through 5 or 6 props for Texas this weekend. It's been a lot of fun and much more difficult than I thought to try to score well because that -1 is killing me. You can borrow my pen. Don't worry about it. Just take it.
Well, I figured you were talking, so I could just borrow it from you.
So, all right, so we went through all the big names. Let's talk. We talked Kurt Busch. He was a yes. Brad, we loved. Harvick, we loved. Chase Elliott, we were split. I'm a no. Across the couch is kind of a yes. Kyle Busch is great. Truex is split again. Joey Logano. So I think, as we say every week, right, you can fill your lineup with all those big names, but eventually you're going to have to run out. So as you run out, let's talk about some other guys that pop into our heads that we potentially would start at Texas. We mentioned Erik Jones when we talked Joe Gibbs Racing. So there's some other names that I'm just going to throw out there. Let's see. Let's start with Erik Almirola. Erik he's been tough to judge in my mind since he's gone to SHR. I was a little bullish against him at his time at Richard Petty Motorsports. That time has since been over for some time now. And, you know, I think he's continuing to, I thought this honeymoon period would end, but, man, he has turned into a pretty solid points getter. So where do we stand on Erik?
This is the best streak of his career, best start of a season for him.
Now, you said that last year. He's upping it again?
Upping it again.
Okay.
But his Texas numbers aren't very good.
I think
so.
What is that? So you just told us nothing.
No, I gave you two options.
So here's the difference, right? I know I might not be right, but I at least take a stand. My man in the corner, he's like, well, you know, he's having a good year, but he's bad here, so decide. That doesn't help me. Where do you stand?
I think the difference with Erik last year and this year, yes, he's having a run similar to how he ran at the beginning of last year, but I think the difference is looking at the other Stewart-Haas cars are not up to par with him. Mm-hmm. So Kevin Harvick, Clint
I like
Boyer
where you're going there.
Are not up to where they were last year, but he's still at that point.
Right. So basically, make sure I'm reading this right, because I agree with what you're saying. That last year Erik was good, but you're like, yeah, but SHR is so good.
Exactly.
This year SHR is just, I don't want to call mediocre because they are better than mediocre, but they are not living up to their standard of last year that they set. Yet Erik is.
Yes.
So I like where Erik's at. He is one I'm going to have to consider for sure to fill out my lineup. So I think we all agree that Erik has some potential. Well, I don't know because Russell told us nothing. We don't know if he agrees.
Well, I think he's having a great season, but when you look at Texas, I don't know how well he stands
Okay, well then
there.
let's flip it. Daniel Suarez.
I'm out on Daniel Suarez.
I'm also out on him.
I can't give you a good argument to start him. I just haven't seen a reason yet. Man, I wish I had more to say about the guy. He's a nice guy, but
I know.
I think he's a good 10th to 15th place finisher, but if that's what you –
I got to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
All right, so there we've rounded out SHR completely, right? We talked about did we talk about Bowyer? No, we didn't talk about Bowyer. Does that mean we're just completely avoiding him since we didn't want to talk about him?
I think he's a complete avoid.
I am too.
There's nothing. I've tried 6 ways from Sunday to try to get Clint Bowyer in my lineup, and I can't. My finger can't even click the button. It won't allow it to happen.
He hasn't finished in the top 5 at Texas in 15 races there.
Yeah.
Closing in on a decade.
He hasn't led more than 1 lap at Texas since 2011 either.
I'm telling you what, you want some bad stats for Clint Bowyer? We can pile them on. We have them all. So
he did great. He did great at Martinsville.
He did do great at Martinsville, although he toyed with my emotion with the speeding penalty.
Not as great as I wanted him to do, though.
Yeah.
I mean, with the 2 speeding penalties,
so look,
it was like
it's time for Clint Bowyer and his crew chief and his team and his pit crew. This is not just on Clint Bowyer. It's time for that 14 team to step up and execute. I'm going to be as bullish and as point as I can be. Like, I don't care how you sped. Like, I don't care. I don't care about all the excuses for all the issues and all the problems. Because if you want to run up front, they do not have the speed of Kyle Busch, of Joey Logano, of Brad Keselowski. So what that means is you have to out-execute everyone. Mm-hmm. So what happens every race is there's 4 or 5 cars that are outstanding. And sometimes a standout even amongst them. But there's 4 or 5 cars that can win the race. Who executes? And it can come down to, every Monday on NASCAR America, we do Turning Point on how the race was really won. Sometimes it's about something great that one driver did. Denny Hamlin, Daytona 500, it was about pit strategy. Other times it's about what other drivers did to eliminate themselves. It was a Kyle Busch issue a few weeks back. And the turning point for Clint Bowyer is that he needs to have less turning points. His turning points are all negative. They don't ever seem to hit the strategy right. They don't ever seem to hit even the lucky breaks. They don't put themselves in position for there. So, man, it's no different than Martinsville. Like, I don't want to pick on him. Do I think he could outrun the 9? No. The 2? No. But it's exhausting to come from the back. You wear out your equipment, your driver. When you go to the back, this is what happens, Jessica. For 100 laps, you're just trying to recover. Mm-hmm. The leader, what he's doing that 100 laps? He's making his car better.
Yep.
So the next pit stop, he's like, Brad Keselowski, and say, you know what, Paul, the track's changing. I'm a little tight. I've been up here all day. This is what I need. Clint Bowyer doesn't know because he's been back there beating and banging, trying to get through traffic. You cannot spot these guys.
And he had to do it twice yesterday.
I know.
Yeah,
all right,
twice.
that's my rant. I'm off my rant. I know I got on a little tangent there, but it just frustrates me when teams don't execute. Kills me. It's like Tennessee in the NCAA game. 25-point lead. I mean, they won. Then they celebrated like they won. If I was the coach, man, I'd be like, we'll celebrate tomorrow. That was pitiful second half. So, all right, we digress. All right, so that's where we are on Clint Bowyer. How about this? I was big for this guy. Even put his name in a tweet Sunday morning. He completely let me down, Ryan Newman.
Yeah, he didn't do anything at Martinsville, did he?
That was the nicest, smilingest way. I hope we got that. All we had her on a single because this is what I got. I'm trying to smile, so I say something nice, but it was not good,
like,
she said. Yeah.
Grinning, but also insulting at the same time.
It was not good.
But you know what happened to him there? Tire violation.
Who's that?
Newman.
Did he have one?
Mm-hmm.
He had a Russell rule?
He did.
He had a Russell rule.
Oh, boy.
That's going to catch on. I'm going to start calling it
It's
that.
the Russell rule. We'll have it renamed in the book. All right, so Ryan Newman. How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr.?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, here's why. So let's go back to the strategy, right? I know I'm going to need 13 drivers. I'm going to play 15 or 16 over the course of the year. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bristol for sure. Speedways for sure. Nothing about Texas jumps out.
The only thing you could say is he was 6th at Las Vegas.
So that's where I was going to go because when you
she's
look
not an
at
instant no. I like this.
So I don't think
debate does the fans good. It's fine.
Well, I'll just say this. I don't think I'm willing to take the risk to play him, but I think that he could surprise people at Texas because he wasn't strong at Las Vegas. If you look at his Vegas
You know what
stats,
she just did? This is the girl that goes to a restaurant. No, this is what girl goes to a restaurant and goes, you know what's really great here? The chicken. I'm not getting it.
I'm not
the chicken's great. So you're just saying, you're trying to give the fans who their friends think they're crazy something to hold on to for Ricky Stenhouse? Okay.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse, when you look at Las Vegas, up until this race this year, was not good at Las Vegas. He was a definite avoid.
Big improvement, right?
Huge improvement, 6th place run.
I like
another mile and a half.
I like where you're going with this.
So, like I said, I don't know if I want to take the risk on playing him because it is a big risk.
So maybe a garage? Would you ever put him in the garage?
I think if he's strong this weekend, if we see some speed out of him, maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Listen, it was just a bad weekend for William Byron all around. Martinsville can do that to young guys. How about Texas? Pretty decent runs at Texas. I mean, he was top 5 both races last year. Arguably had to probably be his best racetrack of 2018.
What did you say? He was top 5 in both races last year?
Sorry. No. Wrong guy.
Okay.
I got ahead of myself on the notes.
Okay. He ran well there last year, but I don't know if we
top 10.
Top 10 in 16th.
Okay, but
so go ahead.
You were against Chase Elliott for the Hendrick reason, and now you're going to say.
But this goes back to no. I'm not taking William Byron. I'm just trying to give the fan. No.
So you're going to do the restaurant thing where you're telling
him. It's now called the Jessica. I'm calling the Jessica. I'm not taking William Byron because I just don't have room for him in my lineup. I'm trying to give the fans out there an option. If the listeners to our podcast say, hey, listen, I need to try somebody different.
Conserve.
So what's a good finish for William Byron?
12th.
That's fair. Top 15.
10th. I mean, if he scored 10th most points, that would be great. So I can't. I mean, William Byron, no. Daniel Suarez, we discussed. How about this? We haven't talked about this guy, Kyle Larson. Did you ever think you'd be sitting on the couch going to Texas going, I don't know about Kyle Larson? Because that's where you're at.
I know. I just – you look, he's top on this configuration, he's top 5 twice and 36th and 37th. And he was 12th in both mile-and-a-half races this year.
No way am I using him for a 12.
Yeah.
She doesn't even smile when she says no about this one.
I know.
No, I think – the only thing that would make me want to play Kyle Larson is if we saw the 42 have a lot of speed come out of the truck this weekend. That's the only thing. Going in, I don't plan on playing him.
I don't even want to say this last name because I feel like we're exhausting it.
Jimmy.
Oh, look, I didn't even have to say it, and you knew.
I know.
So I got a text.
But you got to talk about him.
Nate Ryan, I'm going to call out right here on the show. Nate Ryan texted me and was like, dude, what's up with Jimmy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's won 7 times at Texas, though. 7 times. Hendrick's got a 58 mile-and-a-half wins. Why wouldn't we? Why isn't he in?
So you're apparently starting all 4.
Not even
He's playing
close.
devil's advocate right now.
I mean, here's the thing. I can't get Jimmy in my top 10.
I know.
And I'm not trying to knock the guy. Listen, he's a great person. He's a spectacular race car driver. He is one of the greatest of all time. Like, we're not going to dispute who he is, right? Mm-hmm. Jimmy Johnson will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Unanimous.
Sure.
Unanimous, perhaps, unless one voter wants to just be stubborn, right? As he should be. But why we love sports is no one cares about all of that. Like the 39 other drivers he lines up against next to Texas don't go, give him a little space. He's a 7-time. They don't care.
Right.
And as a fantasy player, you shouldn't care. You have to pick with your brain, not your heart. I cannot get Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
19th and 24th this year on mile and a half tracks.
I think we've said enough about Jimmy Johnson. Nobody can find a way to pick him. How about this? Top 10 last year, Bubba Wallace in the 43.
At Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Bubba.
Wow.
I just don't see how you can pick him.
Pat on the back.
I'll tell you right now, with 7 weeks in, and Russell has gotten just a little
savage.
He was 17th at Martinsville, though.
Okay, that says enough. That is pretty. I mean, listen, Martinsville's a tough place.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Have we left any names out? Because I'm getting ready to come to you for your lineup. I want to know who you're starting, who you're not. No? You feel we've given the listeners all the information possible? I do. I really do.
Yeah, we got all the big guys.
Well, let's talk about prop bets real quick, right? So Kurt Busch has to be a favorite for the poll with his numbers there. Mm-hmm. I think Joey Logano is a qualifier. He's always a favorite for the poll. Probably Blaney has to be on the list. I'm just kind of going through the guys I'm looking for practice day to try to help the fans figure out their prop bets. I mean, that's kind of in the realm, right? Is there someone I'm missing off that list?
Well,
all 3 Penske cars could sit on the poll.
Ford has won every race on this configuration for the poll. The poll for every race.
That's a good stat.
That's a good stat. You weren't going to say it. Look, you notice
he
I
was
had
saving that.
Oh, he's like, I'm saving that. I'm not going to tell everybody.
Saving that for his own lineup.
All right, well, it's the time of the day. We've talked about all the different drivers, the big names, perhaps some of the sleepers, and the must-avoids. But let's just cut to the chase. It's time to set the fantasy lineup. So, guys, heading to Texas, Let me hear your lineups. Who you have, a little bit of strategy, and who's in the garage. Russell, you're up first.
Okay.
He's stressed.
So I have the 4.
I love the 4.
Mm-hmm.
The 2.
Yep, we're on board together.
The 12.
Nope.
Woof. Just got off the on-ramp. Okay, so you still, at the end of this podcast, feel that the 12 is the leading Penske car.
I do.
Okay. You don't have to defend it. I think
Now-
you're crazy.
So if I look at practice data this weekend, will that tell me will that be more of a true factor than Martinsville?
I do. So that's a great question. So I think that it will, as long as they spread out like they're going to in the race. They are not going to be nose to tail. If they couldn't stay nose to tail at California, they're not going to stay nose to tail at Texas. So I'm gonna have to physically watch the practice and see who runs good later on tires. Like if Austin Dillon pops up to the top there, he just hasn't shown up. So yes, it's going to be a definite more telltale than Martinsville. So go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, so I have the 4, 19, 2, 12, and 1. And then I'm going to put the 20 in my garage.
Oh, I like where you're at.
I like it.
I like it. Pretty solid picks.
I'm taking Kyle Busch.
That smile concerned me. Like
I
we're
know.
going to get some name we didn't even know.
No. I just know you're not going to like one of them. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Erik Jones, Martin Truex Jr., Garage, Chase Elliott. I'm going with it. I mean, if he has a bad run in practice, I'm going to take him out, of course. But
listen,
looking at I'm going.
The garage isn't bad to put him in.
I need to
I'm
catch
okay
it,
with
so
that.
go ahead. I like that lineup. All right, so here's where I'm at. Big controversy here. Not really. This one's pretty straightforward. Penske teammates, the 2 and the 22, Brad and Joey. I'm avoiding the 12. I'm not going to have Blaney in my lineup. Kevin Harvick for sure. Then 2, what I'm calling quality picks. Those front 3, the 2, the 22, and the 4, I'm looking for winning performances, top 3 performances. The 2 quality picks, I'm looking for top 8 to 10 runs. The 20 of Erik Jones, the 1 of Kurt Busch. If those 2 can get inside the top 10, great. At the moment, could change. I have Kyle Busch in my garage. Just because if he goes out and he's great, I got to use him. I'm going to put him in. I still think that's where I'm going. That's probably what my lineup's going to look like right there. We're going to see how practice goes, who starts where. I'm done with the whole. So 2 weeks ago, I was all in. Kyle Busch, he won every bonus. I was the man. Last week, I did none of them. So this week, I'm going back to whoever I think is the best car. I'm picking for every stage to win and the manufacturer.
You're not going to split the winner.
So you don't hedge your bets on the
I'm
manufacturer?
not going to hedge anything anymore because the one time I didn't hedge it, I won them all.
I always hedge that bet.
Oh, yeah, that's how I got one last week.
All right, there you have it. There's our opinions on who you should play, who you should avoid. The must starts, the must avoids for Texas on NASCAR Fantasy Live. This is NASCAR Fantasy Fastlane. Russell, myself, Jessica, you could always tweet me and Jessica. Twitterless Russell is of no help at all, so don't ask him anything. We proved that there. Jessica, I hear the rumor is we're not sure how many more times we're going to get your information here on the couch.
I know. Sadly, moving to Atlanta in a few weeks, so it's going to be a little bit limited time here, but it's been a lot of fun. So not sure. Next week's a coin flip. I might be on next week.
Well, selfishly, I hope she moves and starts playing poorly because I need a head start. But there you have it. You can subscribe on to iTunes, rate and review. And as always, the full video is on the YouTube channel.